to Meno Quirks, the podcast that says menopause isn't a crisis, it's a comedy. We're talking honest conversation, cold truths, and all the unexpected quirks that come with the midlife plot twist. Hosted by Nat and Sal, we're here to swap stories,
share laughs, and say the things no one warned us about. Well, probably should have. This is your safe-ish space to giggle, groan, and maybe learn a thing or two along the way. So grab your fan, your favourite snack, and let's get into the glorious weirdness of the menopause. Together! This fantastic episode is called Freedom to Flourish, and it's all about an event that happened very recently in Stratford, all about World Menopause Day. And we have here Aline, who's from Menopause Knowledge, and she's going to tell us all about the event and how it came about. Hello, Aline.
Hello, Natalie. Thank you for welcoming me. Well, we're on day 2 after the event, and I'm still recovering.
Yes, I'm not surprised. It was an incredible feat. Tell us a little bit about it. Where did it come from? Where did the idea come from?
So, Menopause Knowledge is a not-for-profit, and now the organisation itself, that all came from my own journey, which was 10 years of misdiagnosis of just perimenopause, something really simple, you would have thought.
Yeah.
And all the synergies that happened from that. So this event is very much the last outcome of 11, 12, 13 years of wondering what could be different about the menopause arena, what could be done in a way that we demystify the myths around peri and post-menopause. What do we need and who do we need to bring together so that the journey I experienced, the journeys many women I've met since have experienced or still experience, and people, because it impacts relationships and any gender really, what can we do differently so that it doesn't happen again?
Yeah.
So that's sort of where it's come from. And someone mentioned, how about you go and speak to the Crown Plaza in Stratford, because they're really helpful for community events and community elements. So I went and knocked on the door and said, could we have a room for something to do on World Menopause Day? It's a Saturday this year, and we'll be there a couple of hours, 3 hours, something. And they came back and said, oh yes, we can help you. Would you like the conference suite? You can have it for the whole day.
Wow, that's incredible. How lovely.
It's easy to access for people. It's easy to park. And the conference suite is amazing. And the team was second to none. So we ended up with that venue for a day.
Yeah.
With lots of rooms, little rooms, big rooms, medium-sized rooms. And then thinking, what do we do with it? Well, how do you fill it? What's going to be in there? What do we... And then I had a look on the International Menopause Society's website to see what's it going to be about this year.
Okay.
Lifestyle, medicine and menopause. What are people going to get over and above the 3 or 4 talks, workshops, activities they can go to? Because they'll have to choose.
Yeah.
If I'm given all those rooms, I'm not going to have anything empty.
No,
so there's going to have to be concurrent.
It's going to be busy.
Stuff.
It's going to be, yes.
One of our objectives is to grow menopause awareness in the workplace and with the service users of not-for-profit organisations. How about we bring them into a marketplace with local or local enough practitioners, healthcare practitioners, from your alternative therapies all the way through to your clinicians. And yes, it just really came together. And once we'd sort of managed to agree who was going to talk and when, those speakers, those activity leaders, those workshop leaders were fantastic in bringing ideas as well.
So we're going to listen now to a group of people who are experts about a little bit about their insights and what they do and their sort of expertise, etc. And then we'll come back to you about the rest of the day. Welcome to Freedom to Flourish. Janie, just Janie C. Is that right?
That's right, yeah.
Fantastic.
Yes, that's exactly it. Yeah.
Okay. And tell us a little bit about what you're doing at Freedom to Flourish.
So
Janie.
I'm going to be reading poems as a professional poet.
I know, it's exciting. So I had a crash menopause, nervous breakdowns galore, and at the tail end of 2024, into 2025, I started pouring out my feelings into poetry, as many, many women have done before me, and many will do after me. And I was challenged to go and start performing them. So my first ever one was Uxbridge Library.
Oh, wow.
Where my gang of women came with me, and it was so lush. They brought a little helium balloon. I was so nervous. I had to go for a drink beforehand. But my competition was a lady with a ukulele singing pulp songs, a man with a beard that genuinely looked like it had been ironed. So I needn't have worried. I was in good company, and it was amazing. And so since then, I've done about 25 open mic nights, and I've started performing at places like this.
Oh,
so
brilliant.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Brilliant.
Yeah,
That's...
alongside working and all the rest of it.
Yeah.
You know. Obviously, there's all that too. But
all that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Okay. So what drew you to the field of menopause? What kind of...
Well, the field of menopause was my life, basically. So I... as I sort of briefly mentioned, I went into what's called crash menopause. So a lot of women have cancer now. Obviously, you can have gynecological cancer, you can have breast cancer. They're some of the most common ones. But what people don't know is that afterwards, you're often given a treatment that will push you into menopause, or the treatment you've had, the chemo or the surgery, will push you into menopause. So it's 40% of women under 40, and between 70 and 90% of women over 40 will be in menopause after their cancer. And you don't get told that, basically. And so you think you're going, am I allowed to swear on this?
Yeah,
you think you're allowed, well, you think you're going fudging crazy. Let's put it that way. You don't know what is happening to you, because it isn't a lovely long 10-year gradual perimenopause. It's not quite overnight, but it's pretty bad. So all those 60 symptoms on that big long list could be yours to win, as people at the same time are saying, but you're better now, right? You're better, it's gone. It's gone. So I went onto a medication called tamoxifen, which blocks your estrogen, so I cannot have HRT either. So it's a kind of double whammy, that not only does it block it, it doesn't block it throughout your body, but I think, again, since then I've kind of gone on a neurodivergency journey as well, and I think if you're neurodivergent, estrogen is a huge factor because of the dopamine that's linked to it, and there's just so much that is unknown, because obviously women, so it's been fudging, horrendous for 4 years. The writing was on the wall, RE, my unemployment, and I went to see an employment coach, and she said, what would you be if you could be anything in the world? And I said, well, I would be a poet and a writer. I said, already, and she said, well, go on then. So this, the following session, I came back to her with this poem. So this is called To the Employment Coach Who Asked Me What I'd Like to Be When I Grew Up. There are a multitude of me's pirouetting blithely in the world, and most of them knew what they wanted from a little girl. They read one of those fearless women texts, although they didn't exist back then, and decided what they knew they'd be and never thought of it again. One's an academic, of that I'm definitely sure. She picked a subject, doubled down, and learned it to the core. She strides boldly up and down, gesticulates for emphasis. She coaxes monosyllabic youths with stern words and with jest. She's passionate and knowledgeable, an expert in her field. She's won a bunch of research cash. Insight underpins her zeal. But wait, here comes another me. This one doesn't give a shit. She's got blue hair and careworn skin and piercing in her bits. She's spent her young life partying and slept with so many folk, not just boys and not just girls, all those who could evoke that wildness and that passion, that freedom to soar high. Orgasms lit the sky on fire, so vast they made her cry. Now she's settled with a part-time job. It doesn't really matter what. It's just one where people thank her, never something that she's not. Uh-oh, I told you there's a bunch of them. You asked, I'm afraid you get. This one is the writer. She's the hardest to forget. By now, she should have published at least a couple of good books. It's a certain Nicole will option them because of their gripping hooks. These novels, what a commentary on life, the world at large. This me sits on all the panel shows, a literary grand fromage.
She's comfortably wealthy and people come to see her shows. She's friends with Caitlin and with Barbara. They're not the only ones she knows. So you see, for me, the pressing issue isn't flights of fantasy. Instead, the problem's staying grounded while I am stuck with me. The snotting, wailing woman child who cannot rein it in. The one who's a liability. Now where do I begin? I need to teach that me a lesson that sticks once and for all. Sit down, be quiet, don't have ideas. People hate it when you talk, when you digress, when you mushroom out, when you bounce like Tigger on an E. Get in your box and shut the lid. Eventually you'll see that the world might say it welcomes all, but frankly it's not true. They aren't ready, I'm afraid, for version 3 or 1 or 2. What shall I be when I grow up? What do I really want? Not to waste all my potential thinking I'm a useless cunt. I have so much to give, you see. I want to find a place where people are just so excited that they smile up in my face and they say, ooh, and ah, and oh, well done, what you made so good, it hurts my brain. And I'm so pleased, so pleased, so pleased. The one that changed the world was Jane.
Oh, I love it. Absolutely love it.
I mean, and that's the thing about neurodivergency as well.
Yeah.
You're recognising it in little tiny boys who bounce around on sofas.
Yeah.
That bouncing has been inside my head for years, and I've been told to fudging rein it in. And now I've kind of gone, you know what, I can't and I don't want to. I could have died and I didn't. So fudge the lot of you.
Yeah, good.
And that would be my message to anyone, to be honest. If there's something you're putting off, there you are. That's my one thing about menopause. If there's something you're putting off, don't.
No, do it. Do it.
Yeah, just do it.
Perfect
JFDI.
example of that. No, you're perfect. Thank you so much. That was wonderful.
Yeah, well, thank you.
Brilliant.
Thank you for giving me a...
That's okay. Where can people find you?
I'm on LinkedIn, so you can find me on there, and the picture is just me basically pissing my pants, so you'll recognise it. This lad took a picture of me in a bar and gave it to me, and I was just cracking up laughing, and I loved the picture because it just... It looks like monkey business, which kind of sums me up, right? But, so if people want me to perform somewhere, ask me. If you want to hear my poems, I do have a YouTube channel. I will give you the links.
Please do.
But I'm not on Instagram.
Okay.
I mean, I have an Instagram account, and I might start using it. But for me, the soul-sucking, never-ending pressure of social media takes away the fun of being what I am. So I'm kind of going old school, word of mouth. I'm a military wife. I work for Menopause and Cancer CIC. So if you want to find me, you can. Basically.
Okay. We'll definitely put those links out. Oh, well done.
Hi, Asha. Would you like to introduce yourself?
Yeah, of course. So my name's Asha Berzin. I'm a clinical hypnotherapist and a breathwork coach.
Lovely. What drew you into working in the field of menopause and menopause help?
Probably the same as every other fucking woman. Sorry, I swear a lot. Is I'm going through it myself. So I'm perimenopausal, and I just wasn't getting the right support. I didn't like the feeling that I was on my own. So giving myself the opportunity to go out and speak to other people was really important. And in our culture, particularly the Asian community, we just don't talk about menopause.
Now, this is quite a biggie, actually.
Go on, hit me.
What kind of misunderstandings or myths do you come across that you like to bust
Around menopause?
around menopause?
Fucking hell, there's so many. I think first and foremost, the assumption that it's all about hot flushes. Because the first thing the GP asked me was, "Are you having hot flushes?" I was like, "No."
No, well, it can't be then.
But are you sure? Listen, let's just take a moment. There's 130 potential symptoms of menopause.
Yes.
And hot flushes is not the only one. Right? There's 129 others that we need to consider. That can include anxiety, that can include those chest pains, that can include the sleepless nights, that can include all sorts of different things. Perhaps the one that I didn't expect, which I just kind of threw me, was tendons.
Yeah.
And your feet.
Yeah.
That completely threw me. But yeah, it's all of that. So I would probably say first and foremost that. I think the other myth I would say around busting menopause, and I think particularly for when we look at how women's health is managed in the Asian community, that it's something that actually affects Asian and black women much earlier. Perimenopause does.
Right.
So it actually occurs for us much, much earlier.
Okay.
Compared to our white male male. No, it
Yeah,
doesn't happen for men.
Menopause.
Yeah, in comparison to our white counterparts.
Now, quite linked, and a silly question when we've said it's so complex, but if you could only give someone one piece of really important information if they are struggling with menopausal symptoms, what would that be?
This is going to sound slightly hypercritical, and it's not meant to, okay? And I'm only making this the one point specifically because, and this isn't their fault, but GPs unfortunately lack the knowledge around menopause. So when you go to see your GP, go in with the mind that at that moment in time they are not the specialist. So don't expect them to be. So ask to be referred to your menopause specialist clinic or to your gynecology department. So that is the one thing I would hope for anybody to take away. Because what tends to happen is we have been raised to see our GPs and see them as holding the knowledge and the information because that's what they're meant to do. We honour that relationship, and particularly again from a South Asian community, there's that power imbalance anyway. But now we're respecting the authority position that they're holding. Yeah. So if they tell us you can't be perimenopausal,
yeah,
menopausal or whatever,
yes,
that as well.
Many
Many you can't be that thing. So if you can't be that thing, you accept it and you walk away. So what I would say is, feel confident to be able to do a little bit of research, to just do a simple thing like a menopause checker.
Yeah.
Do that, and to be able to go in and just recognise they are not going to be any well educated or versed in menopause than you.
Yeah.
And that, like I said, that's not a criticism. It's going to sound like a criticism, but it's really not.
GPs have got a lot to learn about.
Yeah.
However, we have to understand that they've spent half a day on a course in the last 3 years touching on menopause.
Yeah.
And we're living it every day and looking it up every day and going, what's happening with me every day?
Yeah, like, what is this now? What's this new thing I'm having to fucking contend with? And also, I think there's a piece around, like we said, that, we know that they're under immense pressure.
Yeah.
I went to see a GP once who literally was like, you've got 2 minutes. Now, you've had your 5 minutes, you're allocated 7, you've had what is it that you want from me? And it was just like, oh my, how do I start articulating everything I'm going through when I can't tell you myself what I'm going through?
Yeah. And do it in 2 minutes.
And do it in 2 minutes.
Yeah.
And to be able to organise my thoughts. So I would probably say the only thing I would like to really for anyone to take away is to say, don't have high expectations of your GP from the perspective of accept that GP stands for general practitioner. Yeah. I've unfortunately been in a position where I've been to see the GP and I've never experienced anxiety attacks, and I was waking up in the middle of the night having anxiety attacks. And it was horrific.
Yeah. Because you think, shall I call 999?
Yeah, what is this?
Am I actually dying?
Yeah, okay. Do I wake him up? Do I wake the kids up? What am I? And then to continue to have to spin the plates the following day was too much.
Yeah.
So I went to see the GP, and bearing in mind I've got specialist menopause training, so I laid it out for her. Listen, I understand you're not going to have the same knowledge as me. Here's everything I'm sharing with you. And as I started to share it, she heard everything. She said, oh, based on everything you're saying, do you think it might be a good idea for you to take antidepressants? I'm sorry. Should we have this conversation again? Just to be clear, I've told you that for about 2.5 weeks, because I'm still having the cycle, for about 2.5 weeks I'm okay. But what I find is just before my cycle, I have this massive emotional crash. And for about 10 days, I'm having these anxiety attacks, I'm really on edge, I can't function, I'm having panic, I don't understand what's going on. Does that sound like that could potentially be generalized anxiety? I'm functioning the other 2-3 weeks. So do you think this isn't a mental health issue? It's a symptom. So it's a hormone issue?
Mm.
Oh, so you don't want antidepressants? No, I fucking don't. I get it, you're a GP. You need to refer me on to the specialist menopause clinic or to the gynecology department.
Yeah.
Because that then empowers us to be able to recognise that we're not putting this responsibility on you because you cannot lead on this.
Yeah.
Because I understand that. Because if I broke my leg and I needed my leg checking in terms of, has it healed properly, the GP can't do that. I have to go to the specialist x-ray department. It's the same for menopause. You can't do that for me. And I actually asked her straight out, with all due respect, have you had any menopause training? And she said, no, I haven't.
Nothing.
No, she said I hadn't.
Wow.
And I went, okay, I'm going to tell you then. So I said, look, with all due respect, I have had menopause training. I'm a mental health practitioner. This is how I use it with my clients. I am telling you, these are all my symptoms. And she went, oh, okay. And I went, but it's the anxiety at the moment that's really consuming me.
Yeah.
And as a mental health practitioner, I can't have that.
No.
But it's not all the time. It's just at this specific point in time. That's how I know it's hormone related. It's not because of my mental health. It's because of my hormones, which is then having an impact on my mental health. But it was that lack of knowledge that she then just went, oh, well then, anxiety, would you like to take some SSRI?
So I'm going to ask an additional question. You can edit out the
Do you want me to edit out?
No, you don't. I like it.
I'm terrible at
I like What's wrong with ums? Yeah, exactly.
So I'm going to ask you an question. Considering that anxiety is a massive thing that is linked to our hormones and that comes up and attacks us basically at times, is there a breath work that you would suggest?
Yes. So there's quite a few. The one that I would always suggest is the one that's sort of 4 in and 6 out. Anytime you practice any breath work, try and do something. So there's a caveat. Any form of breath work, you have to know yourself. If you are somebody who is, has high or low blood pressure, you're somebody who's pregnant, you have to know yourself. And there are some kind of medical caveats within that. However, the 4 in and then breathing out for 6 is generally acceptable for most people, simply because you're not holding your breath.
Yes, because some work you do hold your breath.
In some breath work you can hold your breath. With that one, you're breathing in. I would probably say from a breathwork perspective though, nasal breathing is the most powerful form of breathing you could do that's going to help you regulate your nervous system.
Yes.
Yeah. So when we breathe in through our nose, we're activating the sympathetic nervous system. So we're just elevating our cortisol a little bit, and we're putting ourselves in a state where the glucose, the insulin, they're all running around going, oh, okay, we've elevated our heart rate a little bit. When we breathe out through the nose, we're then switching on the parasympathetic nervous system. So we're sending a very direct message to the nervous system that we're safe now.
And this is why we're spending more time in a lot of breath work breathing out than the breath in.
Yes, because when you breathe in, like I said, what you're doing is you're just elevating that cortisol a little bit, because we need the cortisol, believe it or not, to be able to ensure that our heart rate increases a little bit, because that's how we get oxygen around the body. And all that's happened is over time, our body has started to misunderstand the cues of what we're trying to do. And so when that cortisol elevates, it misreads it that we're under threat, which is what's happening to us in anxiety.
Yes.
Because when we get anxious, we breathe shallow.
Yeah, and when you're anxious, or your body tells you you're anxious, because my mind doesn't always tell me, but my body does, then having that to focus on as well takes your mind to a place where you're like, this is what I'm doing.
Yes.
Counting to 4.
Yes.
Counting to 6, did you say? Or whatever you are doing that is a longer app.
And that's absolutely it, isn't it? We're stepping out of that chaos in the mind where we're spiraling, and we're moving it back into the body. And because we're now paying attention to that, it's forcing us to bring that cortisol down. It's forcing us to put our attention somewhere else. And that in itself can be enough to just break it.
And this is a great exercise as well, that you don't have to be anxious to be doing this. You can be walking around doing this.
Absolutely.
Nobody knows that you're doing.
Yep.
You're breathing.
Yep. So it's really funny, because I was out there talking to somebody and they said, oh, I enjoy breathwork, but I've just got to find the time. And I said, that's the point of breathwork. You're breathing all the time.
You are?
So if you just paid a little bit more attention and was intentional, can you imagine the difference you'd start to make to yourself? And with breathwork, you only need 2 minutes every couple of hours.
Okay, so
you could do it
little
when
and
you-
often.
Little and often, I absolutely would
Yeah.
recommend. Because it's that thing, isn't it? If you're about to, say, for example, you're going to do a play, you don't get on the stage and start playing your role. You have to have rehearsed it. So if you've rehearsed learning the tools and the techniques when you're in a calm state, so when you're making your cup of coffee first thing in the morning, if you do, in the time it takes to boil your kettle, you've done some breath work, your body understands this is what it feels like to be calm.
Yeah.
And when I hold my breath or when I slow my breathing down, this represents feeling relaxed. It means I'm safe. So when you're in that state of anxiety, when you're in that state of stress, you've already practiced the tool.
Yeah.
And because breath is always with us, we can then go, oh, do you know what? Let me go to my 4-6.
Yeah.
So we breathe in for 4, breathe out for 6. So straight away the nervous system and the brain both go, oh, this is the stuff that makes us feel calm.
Yes.
So straight away it tunes in.
This is a brilliant method for everybody to learn.
Oh, absolutely. Okay, whatever that was, I'm all right now.
Yeah.
And whatever that was, it's okay, it's past.
Yeah, and I was safe. Look,
And
I'm
I'm-
here on the other side.
Yeah,
And I'm safe.
and I'm safe.
Thank you. How do people find you?
So I'm on Instagram. Everybody loves the old Insta. My Instagram handle, I think, is the right terminology. I can never remember. Is just mindability_hypnotherapy. I'm also on LinkedIn under my own name, Asha Berzon. You can also find me on Facebook. I've got my own website as well. So it's again mindability-hypnotherapy.co.uk. So I do one-to-one clinic where I mostly specialise in anxiety, menopause and burnout. And then I also go into corporate and help corporates to help them implement an effective and strategy that works for their mental health staff.
Brilliant. Thank you so much, Asha.
No, thank you.
Hello, Esme.
Hello.
Would you like to tell us who you are and what you do?
So I'm Esme Koss from Joyfully Well. I'm an empowerment coach and therapist, and I started doing these therapies to actually work with children, and then I realised that actually you need to help the parents, you need to help the adults. So now I help people of any age. So I've worked with 4-year-olds, I've worked with 86-year-olds, but I'm here today because we're dealing with emotions, big emotions that we may not have addressed throughout our lives. And I think at this stage in our life, if you haven't addressed those emotions, they come to the forefront
Yes.
to be addressed.
So that was my next question. What drew you to menopause in particular? But I think you've answered that.
Yeah, I think, and this is my personal opinion, but I think because hormones affect our emotions so much, you need a way of navigating them and managing them. But for me, like the PMS stage of your menstrual cycle, that's where all of my triggers come up, and some things that I feel fine with normally, I can't deal with at that period of time. But it's only for a short period of time, and then I'm okay with it all again.
So we haven't had to deal with it head on.
You're not addressing it. You think, oh, I'll feel fine in a few days, I won't address it.
Yeah.
And that's a vicious trap, I find. But then I think as hormones get more and more in control of your emotions, you get less of a break of where everything's okay, and you can just push it to one side and it becomes more to the forefront. So yes, I've helped 4-year-olds deal with their anxiety, and I've helped 86-year-olds that are too scared to leave the house. But they're more in control of their emotions hormonally
Yes.
than they are at this point in our life. This is where we need some kind of hack to control our emotions and release whatever it is that we've been put putting to one side that hasn't been addressed. It feels to me like an initiation. We need to get to the next side, the other bit, to level up, we need to go through the fire, walk through the fire and face it all.
Yeah. And you help to empower people to do that?
Yes, absolutely. So I love working with people to help them clear the shit that they've accumulated over their life. But the beauty of using tapping, EFT tapping, is that anyone can do it. So I've taught a whole primary school of children how to do tapping for themselves because it's so simple, quick and easy. So I'm really passionate about everyone having tapping as part of their emotional wellbeing toolkit.
Yeah.
Because absolutely you can come to me and have a session, but if you're having a meltdown, if you are completely overwhelmed or frustrated because you're in the middle of the night and you can't bloody sleep, booking a session with me in 2 weeks' time is not going to help you, is it? What you need is something at your fingertips right there and then to help you deal with the overwhelm of the emotion that you're feeling in that moment. And that's what tapping does.
And literally at your fingertips.
Literally at your fingertips, yeah. Clear the emotion, clear the overwhelm, and reduce the emotional trigger that caused it in the first place. Right there and then, within a few moments.
Do you recognise any myths surrounding menopause that you'd like to go, actually, this is a bit of a myth, let's bust it?
For me, the thing that I hear the most is women saying, it comes out of nowhere. I remember my mum saying, I remember just bursting into tears in a shop once. It just came out of nowhere. There was no reason for it. There's always a reason. Something triggers you emotionally, something that you haven't dealt with, something you haven't addressed, and that's where tapping can come in. Whatever it is that you're feeling, even if you can't name the emotion, the feeling, whatever, if you just start tapping and just, say, even though I feel like shit right now, even though I can't cope, even though I'm completely overwhelmed, whatever it is, just start tapping, start calming the nervous system down, and it's helping you access your subconscious to actually see what is going on. There's a reason, there's always a reason. So for me, it's a myth of saying it comes out of nowhere, there's no reason for it.
So we need to have some curiosity about where it has come from, because it's not magically manifested suddenly.
Yeah, absolutely. There will be a trigger, an environmental trigger. You might hear something, someone might say something that triggers you back to childhood or the way that your father treated you, or there's something that triggers something within you, and that's where, like you say, you need to get curious. Become your own psychiatrist. How did that make you feel? Ask yourself, literally, tune into your body. How did that make me feel? I feel, and then, just start exploring that, speaking from the heart as you tap, and just see what comes up, because it can surprise you what actually comes up, and you don't realise that that's what's going on under the surface because you normally avoid it.
I guess that's really fulfilling to help people explore that and watch them find out about themselves.
Massively. You think that you know yourself better than anyone, but actually the people around us can actually tell us things about ourselves that we don't realise that's what we do, or that's how we react in certain situations. But yes, if you get curious and you can link things together, like I was just saying in my talk, how I made myself stop cleaning because I had really tense jaw, it was hurting, and I'm like, this is ridiculous, it's my day off, I've got no plans, why am I tense, why am I stressed, why am I cleaning the house like a mad woman? So I stopped, I tuned into my body and I tapped, and within 2 minutes I'm in floods of tears saying, it's because my dad never approved of me, it's because I was never enough. How can you piece tension in your jaw to not being enough? Now, it's not like at the end of each day I'm like, Dad, by the way, today I cleaned the bathrooms, I baked a cake and I mopped the floors, aren't I a good girl? It's not to do with my dad anymore. That belief's within me, that driver that says, you must do more, keep going, keep pushing, because you're not enough.
If you could only give a person one piece of advice about, in your experience, what is the most important thing to understand about this change in life, about the menopause, what would you say?
I would say you're not broken, you're not crazy. Get curious about what's coming up for you emotionally. It's not being done to you. These are things that you've held, that you've repressed, that actually need addressing right now. And once you go there, once you explore them, release them, change the relationship with yourself, potentially with your parents, you will have gone through that initiation and be the strong, wise elder woman that you were meant to become from going through all of that.
Metamorphosising into whatever the word is.
Exactly, but you have to shed that old version of yourself, all those disempowering beliefs, and until you can become that beautiful butterfly that was always within you, but it was shrouded in these negative beliefs and all these emotions that you've held in from your experiences and your programs.
Yeah. Beautiful. Where can people find you?
So I'm on Facebook, Instagram and LinkedIn, Joyfully Well Coach, and my website's joyfullywell.co.uk.
And do you do one-to-ones? Do you do groups? Do you do Zoom?
I do one-to-ones in person and on Zoom, and I do workshops empowering people to use it for themselves.
Thank you so much, Esme. It's been beautiful talking to you.
So I'm Sue Thomas, founder of Action Menopause Warwickshire. Founder of Action Menopause Warwickshire. I'm also an AMP, advanced nurse practitioner. I've worked in general practice for 25 plus years. And I actually founded Action Menopause Warwickshire based on my own personal and professional experience. I had a surgical menopause in the middle of lockdown, and so I quickly realised that that support wasn't that great, And it's funny because everybody thinks as a nurse that you're well educated, you know all about menopause. We didn't ever get a menopause lecture when I was doing my nurse training.
That's interesting.
Yeah, and in general practice, actually, menopause isn't a priority.
No.
So we tend to, get more about looking after other chronic diseases, such. I'm not saying menopause is a chronic disease, but conditions such as heart disease and respiratory disease and all the other things that are really important.
Yeah.
So menopause gets pushed down the list.
Do you think it's because it's quite diverse? I mean, everybody has different symptoms and they can't kind of pinpoint.
Yeah,
do you think that
it's difficult perimenopause. Yeah, definitely.
Okay.
That can be tricky. But often, unfortunately, women have to come back to see GPs. I think the average is 7 times before they get a diagnosis, an accurate diagnosis of perimenopause and menopause. And it can be tricky. And like I said to you, when I trained, we didn't get the training. My GP colleagues will freely admit they only get a snapshot. And I think something like, is it 50, the recent figures I've seen, 59% of medical schools now have mandatory menopause training, which is great.
It's very good.
Whereas in our day, it didn't exist.
No. You just got on with it. I suppose it was the change.
Exactly.
And that was it, which was looming, and you kind of, nobody would talk about it to each other, so they kind of got on with it, stiff upper lip on their own, which was in some cases quite devastating to families, I think, for the person going through it and the family. So when they say menopause events are for women, they're not. They're for men. They're also for families, because it's understanding, isn't it?
Totally.
What you're going through.
I mean, as an experienced nurse, you'd think I'd have known more when I was going through my surgical menopause, but actually, when I had my surgical menopause and went on to estrogen replacement, I actually realised only after surgery that actually I've been going through perimenopause for several years, probably about 7 years prior to having the hysterectomy, because the only difference was there was one day, it was very clear in my mind. I was walking down the stairs and I was putting one foot down and then the next, then the next, then the next. And I could do it, and I thought to myself, I've not been able to do that for years. I'd hold on to the rail and I'd go down 1 foot at a time because I was very stiff in runners.
Right.
The only difference was I was on estrogen replacement. And then the penny dropped.
Yeah.
And I thought, gosh, this has been going up. And you think, you put everything down, you put it down to, I've don't play too much tennis, or I've been for a run, or I've not stopped, or all this.
Yeah.
I never thought for 1 second I was perimenopausal.
No.
And Dr. Louise Newsom, a friend of mine, she'll say exactly the same. You know, a medical lady, all massively intelligent, but she didn't have a clue she was going through the perimenopause either. So it's getting people to understand what the symptoms
really
are,
is, isn't it?
and then getting
Yeah.
all the information and getting something.
Brilliant. Yeah, that's absolutely true. No, I completely understand that. And so what you've talked about, what drew you to the field of menopause support. What's one common myth or misunderstanding about menopause that you'd like to clear up? Would you say there might not be one, but what would be the most important, would you say, myth out there that you'd like to clear up?
Yeah. That HRT is safe for the majority of people. That we still have a lot of, patients and healthcare professionals who are still confused or uncertain and so on. But for the majority of people, it is safe. There's always risks and benefits, and we always need to have that conversation. But it's safe. And the other thing to say is that you don't have to be over 50 and your period stop to be going through menopause.
See, that I thought that was the case. So that is a myth, isn't it?
Even
Yeah.
healthcare professionals.
Right.
Even we get ladies coming into the group saying, "Oh, I went to my doctor and he said, oh, you can't possibly be going through the menopause because you're not at a certain age and you're still having a period." So there's still these myths out there, and it's nobody's fault. It's just that we just didn't get that information. We didn't get the information ourselves as healthcare professionals, and as women we didn't get it. So we don't have a clue. No. So sometimes we just think we're going mad. Or we've got arthritis or whatever it is, or thyroid disease or whatever it is, because we're getting all these myriad of symptoms and we don't have a clue what's going on.
Yes.
So, I mean, you don't have to keep all these in, but my cousin is staying with me. She's in her 60s. She don't look it. She was fabulous. She said to me this morning, she was in a rush. She went, so, just to mention, last night I was washing my face, and I washed my face with my testosterone gel. And I said, no. She said, yeah. She said, I've done it before. I just swill it off. That should be all right, shouldn't it? I said, well, it didn't stay on long, did it? She said, no, but, with brain fog and everything, I do forget which tube is which. And I thought, oh, my God, you could only, you can't script some of these things.
You really
You've got
can't.
to find the funny side.
You
she's fine at
definitely.
skill.
No.
So we must do
Well,
research
wow, that's a good idea, maybe. But that's.
I'm not saying try it.
No, of course not. No. No. It's funny, isn't it? Because you go on social media and there's so many that throw things at you. Oh, your belly will go flat. You'll go back to being 15, 20 again. And absolute rubbish. Because it's also understanding that you're changing, isn't it? And embracing it and sort of being happy with what works, and all of that. So it is a change, but it's also a mental health change, isn't it? I would think,
Our bodies change, we just have to sometimes accept that. And, there was a great talk with Scott earlier. He said, a lot of women, when I do these focus groups, think that their husbands or partners don't, like them or are attracted to them because of the body changes. You go into these focus groups, men don't notice.
No.
Or they're not bothered by it. Even if they do notice, they love the person. They're attracted to them. It doesn't matter if your body changes. Scott's talk was really good. We need to know more about
that. Definitely. I completely do. Really,
that would help us as well.
Very, very much so. And it is also if they're looking like they're interested, which we know they are, but they're actually bothering to listen. That's going to make us feel better and wanted and less invisible. Because that's another part of it, isn't it? That you feel like you're not important anymore. And that's not true. Okay, that's really good.
Are you
Thank
watching
you.
Riot Women, by the way?
I have, yes.
She uses that word.
Yeah.
And it is. You do feel that certain
You
points
really do.
impossible, don't you?
It really
Getting
is,
menopause.
yeah.
Yeah, after lunch we went out and there's a lovely little river outside, and we stood there at all Action Menopause Warwickshire and we went, girls, look at this.
That's
We've
nice.
got our health, we've got this beautiful land, this beautiful hotel. What's not to...
Yeah.
Health is your wealth.
It really
We've got to look
is.
after... And lifestyle.
Yes.
Lifestyle's
Yes.
number one.
Yeah.
Before we pick the prescription pads up, guys, we've got to sort our
That's
lifestyles out.
absolutely true.
Because HRT is not the golden bullet.
No, it's not, and I don't take it. But I'm not saying that you shouldn't,
No.
because that's a personal
a
preference.
choice. Yeah. It's all about choice.
Absolutely. And there's sometimes when I think I need something, but then I think okay. And I think your body tells you when you need something, doesn't it? If you listen to it and you know, because some people really do struggle with it, and that's different. That's very different.
And HRT is safe for the majority.
Yeah, of course. Yes.
It really is. But it's getting the information and making sure you know the benefits and risks, because there are with everything. You know, there are benefits and risks with everything.
That's true.
As long as you know that, then
You're well equipped.
You're
aren't
well
you?
equipped. You can go and see your clinician and you can have that conversation.
It's brilliant. Okay, last question. So in your experience, what's the most important message regarding our understanding of the menopause? So what would you like people to think about from a personal perspective about the menopause?
I would say, first of all, you're not alone. For it not to be a taboo, for us to be able to talk about it openly in whatever arena, because we all need... Everybody's going to be affected by menopause. It's
Yes,
not just
of
the women,
course.
it's partners, it's workplace, it's
Yeah,
everything.
yeah.
So unless we have these conversations, just make it like it's talking about the green grass over there or the trees. It's just a normal conversation that we have. I think getting it out there and get everybody informed, and hopefully the next generation won't have to bang on doors and do everything that we had to do. Let's hope so.
No, that's brilliant. Thank you. Action Menopause.
Yay.
We need to... How do we find you?
Action Menopause, yeah. So we have free support groups and we run them every other month, normally on the last Thursday of the month. They're run at Nelson, the Nelson Club, which is just outside Warwick, on just off Emscott Road, sorry. So it's just outside Warwick, going towards Leamington. It's good bus route, and it's also got a free car park and a bar, and it sells very cheap Prosecco.
I love it coming. That's it, I'll be there. Cheers. Thank you. Thank you so much.
So welcome, Elsa.
Thank you.
Please, can you tell us what you do and a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, so my name is Elsa Y. I am a registered health coach. I'm also a qualified yoga teacher and yoga therapist, but I bring all of that to encompass it into providing health and wellbeing coaching. So I have a one-to-one practice where I work with individuals in Stratford, but also on Zoom, and then I also do corporate wellbeing work, and some of that is very much focused on menopause, promoting menopause awareness, supporting women in that space, and both one-to-one and also in the workspace.
How did you come to the point where you were looking at menopause and that was sort of something you were interested in?
Yeah, well, I mean, sort of largely through my own personal experience, actually. About 12 years ago, I had a health crisis, which is what led to me to train to be a yoga teacher, and then started delving down into nutrition. And then at the same time, probably about 7 years ago, I started feeling quite anxious and overwhelmed, and started then looking into it and thought, actually, maybe I'm perimenopausal. So, and that's what led me to then discover what nutrition could do, what stress management could do, what movement could do, all of the lifestyle things and how they could help. And that led me to then becoming training to be a health and wellbeing coach, actually, so I could help other people with
Yes, and these are elements that you help people with.
Absolutely. So, you know, health and wellbeing coaching encompasses all of those elements, so sleep, stress management, nutrition, movement, but it's also about providing accountability and cheering people on, actually, about what they want to achieve with their health and wellbeing goals.
When you speak to people, what do you think is a common myth or misconception about menopause?
Gosh, that's a good one. I think there's a few, actually. I think, firstly, that HRT is the only answer. HRT is very much part of the answer for many women, but some women don't get on with it, some women don't want to take it. But it's not a silver bullet. Actually, lifestyle is something that we all need to be aware of and look after ourselves, because if you're on HRT, it will work to optimise your HRT, and if you're not on HRT, then it will help support your menopause journey, but also to live and age well.
So, in your experience, and if you could just tell your clients or the general public one thing that they need to know about menopause, what would you choose to tell them?
Oh gosh, that's a really good question. I think I would say don't be frightened of it, because I think there's quite a big culture of fear. Don't be frightened of it. Get your information from reliable sources so that it's evidence-based and science-backed, because there's a whole heap of misinformation. And learn how much you can do to support your own health and well-being on your own menopause journey. Sorry, that was 3, but...
No, that's fine, that's lovely. So when a client comes to you for the first time, how do you learn about them and their journey? What would somebody expect if they came to you?
Yeah, so the starting point is I always ask, well, why have you come to me? What are things like for you right now? And then people generally tell me what they are, and I'll ask what their challenges are, what their struggles with. Quite often I hear, well, I want to feel how I used to feel, or, I don't feel like myself anymore. I'm really struggling with energy and sleep, and I just feel like I've lost myself a little bit. So we'll start with that, and then I'll say, well, what do you want to achieve? What are you looking for? How would you like to feel? And that just gives me an insight. And obviously it's really important to build up that relationship as well, and that atmosphere of trust and a safe space that they can share anything. And a lot of the conversations start off with is me listening, actually, to their needs, their wants, their struggles, their challenges. And then, once we've kind of explored that, then we'll talk about where they want to get to. And then together we will come up with a bit of an action plan to get them from where they are now to where they want to be, and how they might want to achieve that.
What do you do? One-to-ones, obviously. Do you do remote Zoom sessions?
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, so I do one-to-ones. So I do those on Zoom, and then if for people that are local in Stratford, I also work out of Lifeways in Stratford as well. And my business is probably split. Probably the majority of my clients want to do Zoom, actually, because it's more convenient for them. Okay. But I also go a lot into workplaces, and some of my clients come out of those workplace things that I do on menopause or stress resilience. I get coaching. People want me to coach them off the back of that as well. So it's a variety of things. But I also work with Lifeways and run the menopause support group there, which is a free group accessible for women that are struggling with their own menopause experience.
Yes. So that leads me on to, where can people find you?
Yeah, so people can find me. My business is called Elsa Y Wellbeing, so that's www.elsawellbeing.co.uk, or you can find me on Insta at Elsa W Health Coach, or you can find my details at Lifeways as well.
That's lovely. Thank you so much, Elsa.
Thanks, Sally. Thank you.
Would you like to introduce yourself?
Yes, my name is Claire Taylor and I am from Journey of Sounds. I'm
Hi,
a qualified
Claire.
sound healer.
Now, I've just experienced one of your sound baths and it was glorious. Can you tell us about, particularly with a mind to thinking about menopause, how this might help us to navigate that?
Well, from personal experience, diagnosed with endometriosis 10-12 years ago, a very difficult journey, very painful journey, which led to a full hysterectomy last year, which obviously led on to full surgical menopause. I've always been a holistic person, and I take only of the natural remedies, so I went down the journey as natural as possible. And a very good friend of mine, God love her, she introduced me to sound baths. And she said, it's very good for your pain, Claire, just try it. So I was like, okay, I've been a holistic therapist for 30 years, reflexology, Reiki, crystals, all that. So I was very open to it. I went to my first one, and for 3 days I didn't have any pain. I was thinking, this is really strange. I went again, no pain. I went again, and over a period of 12 months, I experimented to make sure that it was a definite, not in my head, it was a definite physical response. And so much so, I thought, I'm going to train in this to help others. So that's what I did.
That's amazing. So how long have you been doing it now?
I started I've had a Tibetan bowl at home for 30 years. I've had Goshi chimes because I introduced that to my other practice, Reiki and reflexology. but I finished my qualification in sound probably 3 years ago. It took a while because it's a long process. There's variations of doing it, but I did it at my own pace. And yes, the best thing I've ever done.
Wonderful. It has been glorious. I'm very relaxed, as you can tell. What do you, talking to perimenopausal, menopausal women and women in your life, what do you think is quite a big myth that you see that people think about menopause? When they think of menopause, they think something that you think, actually, that's not true or that's not helpful.
Yeah, I do think, I mean, obviously I'm 54 myself, so most of my friends are all going through perimenopause, menopause, and the various have suffered, struggled, some sail through it. It's a very personal journey, and my personal journey was to keep it as holistic as possible, because I can't take HRT because I still have endometriosis in my body. So I would take it. I'm not against HRT, but it feeds endometriosis, so it's not something that's an option for me. So keeping it natural as possible, finding sound, finding what suits me as an individual, I think has been paramount to get me through. I'm very lucky. I don't have that much compared to others, but equally I'd still do struggle. For me, going to a sound bath, hands down, it does the job for me every time. And I play my sound every day at home, so obviously that helps me.
So if people can't access a sound bath, is finding those sound frequencies on, say, Spotify, is that helpful?
There's lots of... if you can experience a sound bath in person, I would say try that. Another thing is that no sound facilitator plays the same. We all play differently. It's all individually. Every sound bath I play is different. Then the other options are on Spotify. There is lots of options. Just keep scrolling to find one that resonates with you. Because what your friend might like might not sit with you. It might be too pitchy, it might be too solemn, whatever. My suggestion would be to just keep trying, and you'll know. It's like when you find your house, you just know that that's the one for you. And then also you can play it on YouTube. So you can just lie and just have it playing on the YouTube. I have it on the telly on YouTube. Yeah. So there's lots of options. But I'm so pleased to say there's lots of us scattered everywhere delivering sound. So the more that can experience, the better for me.
And if people want to access your experience, how can they find you?
So I'm on the Stratford Road in Shirley, Solihull. I work from Our Lady of the Wayside Parish Hall. I'm there once a month on a Thursday. I'm normally there 7:30 to 8:30. I also offer a yoga sound. My friend's a yoga teacher once a month. She does 45 minutes yoga, then I do 45 minutes sound. I'm on Instagram. I'm called Journey of Sounds on Instagram. I'm on Facebook and Instagram, and I always post my up and coming events. Okay. So people can go through my platform and book on.
So it's Journey of Sounds.
Journey of Sounds, yeah.
That's lovely. Thank you so much for talking to me.
You're welcome. Thank you for asking me.
Could you sum up the day for me in terms of what you feel was so valuable?
I think from my perspective, what we hit as one of the most important objectives was to really fully align with that lifestyle medicine and menopause, with that holistic approach, so that the people who were in the spaces there, whether it was the marketplace or the various talks and workshops, everyone left with a breadth of tools, strategies, ideas, options for them to investigate themselves outside of that space and say, oh, you know what? That resonates with me. I've learned something new. I'm really inspired by this. I wish I'd spoken more to such and such so I can reach out to them now. I've met several people who were from completely different arenas in my menopause knowledge work, realize they live next door to each other, almost literally, and have created connections that are going to go far, way and over and beyond one day, an 8-hour snapshot.
Yeah.
And I think that's what is so amazing. And what we also avoided was to bring in that space, again, what was so core to what I wanted to achieve, was to bring a meno washing element. So there was no, we're telling you all this at a price tag. that is potentially not affordable for most of you because we're labeling it menopause. We were positive, we were inclusive, and we allowed anyone to come in for £1, as opposed to having a price that would have meant only a small proportion of the population could come in. It was full of inspiration.
It's all about menopause knowledge.
Exactly, menopause knowledge. And we are similarly, I had someone commenting today actually on LinkedIn saying she's been in postmenopause through surgical menopause, I think, for 17, 18 years. And she's learned so much to still continue helping her to live that, what must have been such a challenge at the time, such an abrupt journey. But even 17 years on, there's still more to learn.
Yeah.
And that to me that's what we wanted to achieve, the connections and the learning. And as you say, menopause knowledge.
Fantastic. Wow, thank you.
Thank you for having me.
It's a pleasure.
Pool of people we have now to do more Meno Quirk podcasts. We'll never stop.
The world is our oyster.
We'll never stop.
We're just going to carry on being quirky. Oh, thank you. That's amazing.
You've been listening to the Meno Quirks podcast, brought to you by Small Talk Podcast. Stay cool. Don't forget to sparkle. Sip something pink and wear your crown because you've earned it. Catch you next time. Just a reminder, we're not doctors, and the information shared on this podcast is for informational and entertainment purposes only. Everyone's experience with menopause is different. So please speak with a qualified healthcare provider before making any medical decisions or changes to your health routine.